welcome back to my channel. Today I just wanted to do a fibromyalgia update. So it has been 2 years since I did any sort of update or even talked about my journey with fibromyalgia. If you don't know what fibromyalgia is, you can go back to my, what's that video called? I will link the Fibro Facts video that I made 2 years ago up here in the iCard. So go and watch that and then come on back. So when I moved out here to Arizona, I was very hopeful that I might get a different experience as far as choices of doctors and places to go. And so I tried to keep that optimism as much as possible. So in August of 2016, I got a new primary care doctor, and she was very open and listened to my wants and wishes as far as how I wanted to treat my fibromyalgia. So when I mentioned physical therapy and chiropractic work, she was very open to helping me get to those sort of doctors. At that point in my life, I was about 5 years into my journey after being diagnosed, and I had not tried medication. It was something that I really wanted to be a last resort, but at this point in my life, I was really willing to try it. So I was put on gabapentin, and I tried that for about a month and a half, and the side effects from it were just something I was not willing to live with. It was making me feel worse, if that's at all possible with fibromyalgia, but I could tell it was coming from that and it wasn't just my fibro. So I decided to stop taking that. Also, one of the weird side effects I got from that medication was excessive yawning. And I actually looked it up, and there were other people who actually had that weird symptom, but it was so obnoxious. Like, I wasn't tired and I just couldn't stop yawning, and my jaw was getting so tired from all the yawning. I was like, I can't take this anymore. So once I got off that, it went away, so I could tell it was from that medication, but it was one of the weirdest side effects I had ever experienced from a medication. So then in September of 2016, I talked to my primary care doctor about trying physical therapy, more specifically aqua therapy, because whenever I'm in the water, I feel better. I feel like a weight is lifted off of me. I just feel so much better in the water. And she actually recommended a place that was only a 20-minute drive from where I live and had a pool. So the pool was warm water, which, if anyone knows me, I hate cold water. I'm the toe dipper, like that can't just cannonball into a pool. The water needs to be warm or I'm not coming in. So it was warm water, so that felt great. And the therapists I worked with were amazing. They sat down and really talked to me about like where my specific pain points were and what I wanted to work on each different week. I did physical therapy, I did aqua therapy for about a month. And then they were talking about wanting to move me to just like take the water therapy away and just do regular physical therapy. And that wasn't something I was willing to do. I really, really loved the aqua therapy. And so I was already thinking about trying to just stick with that. Then the bills for therapy started coming in, and it was coming out to about $200 a month. And that was something that was just not feasible for me. So unfortunately, I had to stop going to therapy, which really devastated me because it was helping. It was really helping. So then in November of 2016, the next thing I wanted to explore was going to a chiropractor, because the majority of my pain comes from my lower back. So I was really excited to try this. I've never been adjusted or anything like that. I kind of like crack my back on my own, but I've never been adjusted by a professional. So I was really excited to try that out. So I went to a chiropractor in town, and the first appointment, he kind of just checked me out. He did an x-ray and told me that I had, what did he tell me? Something, it was so long ago, I can't remember. Something about my L5 was out of whack. I don't know if it was like, I had a slipped disc or something. Something about my L5, that's all I remember, that it was wonky. Let's just say that. And so he wanted to work specifically on that, and that made sense that it was my L5, because I think it's, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. But I think it's the one that's lower to the base of your spine. So he started having me do a hydro massage. So you lay on this water bed and the water jets come up through the bed and start massaging your back. And it felt amazing. Like, I think it was just a 30-minute treatment, but after the 30-minute treatment, I felt a little bit of relief. And for a person who feels pain almost 24/7, having like a 10-minute point in my life that I could feel relief, I could have cried. It felt amazing. The worst part about the hydro massage is that because it's bringing like I don't know how to phrase it, but it's like bringing all the blood like starts circulating in your back. It makes you really itchy. And of course it's on my back, so it's like spots I can't reach, so I'd always have to have the nurse scratch my back because I couldn't reach the itchy parts. But it was a really cool experience to be able to do that and then get that sense of relief. It felt great. And then after I would do that, he would take me to the office and he would adjust me. And I mean, you always like hear, I've like seen videos of like people getting adjusted and the sounds that you hear is the popping, but it does sound kind of crazy, but it did feel good. I was definitely sore after he did it, so he had me do ice, and then he also gave me this bottle of BioFreeze, which is one of the only things I've gotten to take away from that, because I actually had to stop going to the chiropractor because, again, it got too expensive. I was going once a week for the first month, and it was $50 an appointment. So that, again, just wasn't something I could afford. So I stopped going, but I kept using the BioFreeze because unlike Icy Hot, I don't love Icy Hot because I don't like the hot and cold thing. I'd rather just have a cooling sensation. The BioFreeze did that. So I would put it on my shoulders, I put it on my lower back, and got that little sense of relief. So that is something I still use to that day. So if anything I've taken away from doing chiropractic work is that BioFreeze. If you haven't tried it, go get it. The BioFreeze is at like Target, Walmart. They have a roll-on and a spray and a lotion. I like the spray, but whatever works for you, go ahead and try it. So after I stopped going to outside doctors to try to get relief from my fibromyalgia, I kind of just took matters into my own hands. And it's not like I haven't done that before. I hadn't had a good doctor basically since I was diagnosed. So I've always been kind of my own doctor and my own activist. So I just went back to that mode. So I started to take magnesium supplements because I did some research and that was one of the big supplements that people recommend you take. Then I also started going to the gym every other day, and I could sort of feel some relief from that. In the beginning, it was kind of adding more soreness and more fatigue to me. But once we started going regularly and I got into a routine, I did feel stronger in some points that I felt were weak in me before. And that was a sense of relief. And that to me was really amazing, because who would have thought just going to the gym would help someone with fibromyalgia. My major pain areas continue to be my shoulders and neck, my back, my lower back, and my ankles and feet. So I tried not to overdo it as far as exercises that would kind of agitate those things, but I also make sure to stretch my back out as much as I can after like every exercise I do. But the big thing for me the big tool that I use to push through pain, it's very much mental for me. I try to keep a positive outlook on my life and just think of how grateful and lucky I am to be alive. And while I have this burden of fibromyalgia, I have the opportunity to make people laugh and smile because I'm a silly, goofy girl and I like to make people laugh. And that makes me feel better. So doing things like that and just trying to keep as much of a positive outlook on life really helps kind of just bat away any fibromyalgia pain. I just don't let it consume my mind. So then flash forward to August of 2017, Andy and I, Andy is my boyfriend, if you don't know, he's kind of awesome. We started to delve a little bit into eating differently. So I looked up the ketogenic diet, and to me it looked like one of the easier diets to do. Because I've tried cutting gluten out, I've tried cutting dairy out, and I just don't have the willpower. So we tried that. We weren't like full force into doing keto. We kind of just did as much as we could, and we didn't punish ourselves if we ate something bad. So we were eating a lot more protein, tried to eat as many high healthy fats as possible. And about 2 or 3 weeks into doing that, I started to get extremely fatigued. Like, I could tell the difference between what I was feeling and like my regular fibro feeling. I was exhausted. I started to get the fatigue, and then I started to get back pain, like flank pain is what they call it. And I had the back pain from fibro, but again, it just felt different. This was not a normal like achy pain. Like, this was like someone like punching me in the back. And it was just weird. So I finally went to the doctor and was diagnosed with a UTI, which they happen, they're common in women, whatever. I'd had a UTI before though, and none of the symptoms I was having were similar to the previous UTI I'd had. So I was kind of not satisfied with that, but because I was saying I had the flank pain, she was worried that it was something with my kidneys as well, because it's all in the same region. So I was sent to get a ultrasound, and it came back that I actually had a cyst on my kidney. And they didn't really tell me specifically. If I can try to remember, I think the nurse, when she called me, said it was a parapelvic cyst, but they said it wasn't large enough to need to take action. They said it would either take care of itself or it would just always be there. So I mean, that wasn't really what I was looking to hear that day. But so I knew about the cyst. I was taking the medicine to treat the UTI, and one day I woke up after a sleepless night and started throwing up, and I was nervous that that was something with my kidneys, like the cyst had burst and now I'm sick from it. So I went to the emergency room and I got IV fluids and I got pain medicine, and they actually found out more than my doctor was willing to do research about, that I had a kidney infection and not a UTI. So I was taking the wrong medication, it wasn't reaching the right part of my body, and it was making me more sick. So I got some antibiotics to treat the kidney infection, and that went away. Unfortunately, I do still have kidney pain. It's on and off, but it's always there. I still have the back pain from the fibromyalgia, but I can commonly kind of feel like someone's going like this with my kidneys, like squeezing them. And I have this cyst in my left kidney, so that one tends to hurt a little bit more. But since they weren't really willing to do anything about the cyst, I kind of just have to learn to live with it. They did recommend going to a pain management specialist, but again, just something I can't afford right now. So it's not life-threatening, and it's something I just kind of push through the pain like I do every day. So, but the most important thing was that I got treated for the kidney infection, and there's none of that left over, so that's all taken care of. And now if we come around to October this month, how I'm feeling, I feel okay. Still going to the gym, trying to go to the gym every other day. Sometimes I'm just not into it, and that's not even because my fibromyalgia. Sometimes I'm a serious homebody and I don't want to leave the house. So I've also been trying some new treatments, like home remedies and some supplements, and I actually want to talk about the products and supplements that I use in an upcoming video, so stay tuned for that, because I'd love to be able to share what I use to try to help myself, since I don't use medication and I don't really have a dedicated doctor, because I'd love to be able to help other people if they're struggling to do self-care. I will probably do that for my next fibromyalgia video next month. Thank you guys so much for watching. In the comments down below, let me know if you have fibromyalgia or if you know anyone that has fibromyalgia. I'd love to keep the conversation going, and I always want to make sure that this invisible illness becomes more visible. See you guys next time. Bye!